Okay. I will call the Board of Selectmen meeting for December the 1st to order, and our first order of business is a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our next item of the agenda is the opportunity for public comment.
What about, yeah, go ahead.
I think I'm right?
I can get the chair out here, we'll be all set. Tom Dillon, Haynes Road. One reason I'm here tonight is I saw once again that the conflict of interest complaint is on the agenda. I think we've lost control of this process. A conflict of interest is not, I don't like the way the selectman does things or how he represents things to another board. A conflict of interest is, I tell the police chief he'll get more budget if he hires my son. That's a conflict of interest. And I don't see any conflict of interest in that. And clearly we have an individual in town who is using that process to tie you guys into knots. So what I'd like to see is for you to take back control of that process. Handle Mr. Huebner's case, decide what you're gonna do, and move on. And then if you decide that he doesn't do a good job representing you on the budget committee, that's your committee's business. That's not a conflict of interest. And that way you get that back, you get control of that process, and you can start thinking about more important things like why we have 6 library employees in a building the size of a postage stamp, but we can't find a second person to work at the dump. So we have to close it down, which we've done, I believe, twice in the very recent past. You know, that seems like a way more important issue to be thinking about. Thank you.
Other public comment?
Stacy Marciani, Meeting House Hill Road. I'm also here to talk about the conflict of interest as regards Mr. Huebner, and I would concur with what Tom has said. It's important to have something like a conflict of interest policy, but it's also important to have something that is workable. The evening in question about which the conflict was filed, you had the chair of the committee recuse himself. Mr. Berry had left early at 2 hours and 35 minutes, so you had Ms. McHugh left. She had to recuse herself, so then you were down to just 2 select board members. Jared did agree with using Greg to move forward. It was a little like watching people that, I don't know, what's the procedure, what should we do here? And that to me was an honest reaction to what was occurring at the moment. I don't see anyone really on any board in town that I've seen acting in such a way that they're out for their own personal gain. Or even election gain. It's hard and a sacrifice to serve on any of these boards. And so assuming the worst of people in these circumstances just isn't really helpful to anyone. I think that evening could have been handled better, but I certainly don't see any malintent in anyone's actions that evening. And there were people that may have been surprised and not sure how to move forward. But again, at the end of the day, the investigation was made and the merits were discussed, and it was found that there was no action that needed to be taken. There's nothing in the conflict of interest policy that states that a member of the opposite political party has to investigate for, to have a non-biased investigation into what's happening. I think that injection and this conflict of interest of politics was extremely unfortunate, because I don't think we're, trying to say if you're a Republican or if you're a Democrat, you have an inherent bias against anyone that's not a member of your political party. I think that's a really unfortunate path for us to go down as a community. I also would note that it seems like a bit of a political witch hunt, that if we can't get Mr. Huebner on the merits of the investigation, then we're going to get him on the process. And by hook or crook, we're going to get him either off of the NBC or removed as chair. It should not escape anyone's attention that the person putting forth the conflict of interest complaints lost an election to Mr. Huebner. So it's really feeling like a witch hunt. And I find that very unfortunate, because I believe, again, that everyone that serves for this town is doing it for the good of the town and has better things to do with their time, in all honesty, businesses to run, families to take care of, and lots of other things. So I hope that we can move through this and find a little more communal spirit in going forward, because I don't see malintent from anyone on any of these boards. And there's no gain to get. There's no contract, there's no financial benefit, anything like that. So thank you so much. I appreciate the job that all of you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on in our agenda. The unfinished business, we have an update on the FEMA situation for the Range Road culvert, and I think Frank was intending to bring that. Is he here?
No, I was just going to report that for him.
Okay.
Frank and I had a meeting on the 20th with FEMA, or the state representatives for FEMA. And they are still working on reviewing our plans and the H&H, which is the, basically the water flow levels. And so they said that our final approval will likely not be granted for several more weeks.
Several more weeks.
That project will be on hold for this construction season, and then we will apply for an extension on our funding for one more year.
So they're aware that they're holding us up, and apparently they're insinuating or implying that they would allow the extension until they finish their
They said they will allow an extension for one more year, but that is the last of it.
one more year.
Yeah, one season left.
Any question by the board on that subject?
Did it change, or was not the paperwork correct?
So what happens, it looks like the original paperwork was submitted as an A&E, which was just approval for the engineering. So when the engineering was first done, it was submitted as a replace in kind. Then when Keach and Nordstrom got involved and did the wetlands permitting, the H&H studies, to correct it, they needed to put in an oversized box culvert. So it looks like they did all of the plans, they submitted the wetlands permit to the state, which was approved. And then it seems like around that same time is about the time that John Harrington left. So I think during his departure, it wasn't submitted to FEMA. And then when John Scruton came in and then I came in, John Scruton and I were both under the impression that it was shovel ready and ready to go. And we didn't realize that FEMA needed more information to keep the process moving. So I think that's where the shuffle kind of fell.
Any other discussion? All right, seeing none. Let's move on to highway vehicle fleet. And I thought, again, I think Frank was the one to bring that, but you'll.
I think during public comment at the last meeting, it came up just for closure on that particular item.
Right.
So the original proposal was brought to the BOS to purchase a 2016 International six-wheel dump truck. The board voted to table that discussion, and then ultimately you repaired the 1994 International. You spent about $21,000 in repairing that frame and other mechanical repairs to pass inspection. And then I just put in my notes that no further discussions had been made on purchasing a new or used and new to Deerfield truck for plowing or for any purposes for the highway department.
That was 21,000 for the frame. I thought we
It was-
went to 15.
It was 15 for the frame, and then it was about another 6 for the brakes and the PTO.
The things that were wrong that caused them to find the frame being,
Yes.
And we had discussed and approved those brakes and air things earlier. So I think the purpose of describing that is to simply say that we're following up. It's been completed, and there's no other follow-up on that truck or plow situation.
And it's ready to go.
Yep. Be on the road tomorrow.
Yeah, right. All right, any other questions about that issue? All right, that's completed. Next item on agenda is Arrow Roads for the conflict of interest complaint.
Will, do you want to go sit in the audience?
Well, that's a custom, but it's not a rule.
Okay.
So it's not something that is a law or something that has to be followed. It has been followed on the planning board.
policy, sir.
What's,
Well, it's not a rule. I don't have to sit in the audience, but I will. If it helps.
Well, no, the ordinance actually, and the ordinance does say recusal, but unless the board is adjudicating on it, I don't think you have to leave the table. When the issue comes up as a complaint to be dealt with, yes. The ordinance says you got to join the public. That's what the ordinance says. So, and that's what,
Just ask.
and HMA says that as well.
Mr. Rhodes?
Mrs. McHugh, thank you very much. I'm here to talk about why I signed this complaint. To be clear, if this board had handled the chief's earlier complaint according to the law, that is the conflict of interest ordinance, this complaint wouldn't be necessary at all. It would have been handled. There'd be no issue. But that's not how it went down. And it's all available for anyone to see on the video, okay? So now you will have to make a determination as to whether there was a breach of the law as alleged on September 29th. To my way of thinking, the clarity of the acts on the 29th is pretty unmistakable. In a very short period of time, the chair disobeyed the ordinance 3 times, made up a rule the legislative body would normally vote on, denied the other select board members an authority this ordinance gives them, and reinforced and emphasized divisiveness, which is the opposite of how a select board should work, okay? It was a boldly illegal and destructive series of actions, in my view. Maybe by design, I don't know. I really don't know, okay? But it was remarkable how smoothly it was played, which I guess is, I suppose a poker face is not surprising from someone who claims a card-counting, gambling past. If that, in fact, is true, I don't know. This board, you all, are the top of the food chain in Deerfield as a group, as a body. As a group, you're the leaders, upholding the laws, taking responsibility, setting the standards for what it means to do the right thing, right? Some of you may find doing the right thing difficult in this case, which I understand, because personal views, ideology, lifestyle, or friendship may incline you to want to excuse the behavior that we saw on the 29th. And you may personally agree with the outcome. But I would remind you that that your oath of office requires you to uphold the law, in this case, the conflict of interest law. The only things that matter are A, what the law requires, and B, the actions cited in the complaint. Nothing else is relevant, including personal views or subsequent events. I would note that the New Hampshire Supreme Court has a history, it seems, of overturning cases where a person with a conflict was involved in the decision. When over 70% of the voters in Deerfield ratified the conflict of interest ordinance in 2024, I suspect they were voting for good governance, not poor optics, for accountability, not sweeping things under the rug, and for taking responsibilities, not giving excuses. Most of all, I think they were hoping that you would get the message that they expect you to understand and follow as well as apply the law, not defy it, not trash it, or use your position to advance a personal agenda or to save your skin. Right? So when you vote on this complaint, yay, nay, or abstain, I would ask you to keep this context in mind. How we've reached this point is actually puzzling to me. I mean, Deerfield's a terrific town full of smart, talented, hardworking, and law-abiding people. They deserve a select board that seeks and respects their input, that has policies and procedures that encourage clear and constructive governance, that has a plan for the future and the financial understanding and discipline to afford it. Right? Perhaps you can undertake that mission. It won't happen without a serious, professional, and forward-looking effort on your part, but I would encourage you to take it on, because I suspect that, as we have seen with our various citizen initiatives in the past few years, the residents of this town are eager to join you in taking up the challenge of making Deerfield a well-run town and a great community to live in.
Thank you.
Any comments, questions? Otherwise, I thank you.
Thank you, Earl.
Anybody have any questions or?
I have a comment.
Any comments?
It's all right.
Yep. From here or over there?
Well, from here.
Okay.
I've addressed this body in a meeting of several weeks ago about the issue. I admitted that I was hit with that thing cold. I am new to this job since April. I wasn't sure what procedure we should follow. We had one precedent, which was the former COI that we dealt with about the truck. As you recall, the repair of the truck that hadn't been, at least was thought to be not adequately authorized, and the misunderstandings of that. In that case, we had John Scruton, the interim town administrator, handle that issue, and that he handled it himself, essentially asking questions of the people involved in that case. In this case, when it was handed to me and I saw what it was, I thought, well, how should we handle this? Should we just dump it on Karen and say, you investigate this? Should we have some member of the board help her with that? I thought it would be wise to have a member of the board involved. That was my thought. I knew there couldn't be several of us for different reasons, and I was simply looking for someone who was willing to do that. And so when I did approach Greg, which you see on the video, I went to Greg and I said, Greg, are you willing to serve on a board if we need you, not a board, but serve on a COI? I don't even think I said COI. I think just willing to serve if I need you to serve, would you be willing to do that? Because it's obviously not a tasteful thing to have to go through. And he said, yes, if you need me to do something, I can do that. So that was all that transpired there. I will rely on Greg to give his own comment about whether I've accurately described what happened. I'm being accused of a lot of very serious things that are simply not true. If you believe that that's the way I am and that I'm that kind of a conniving person, I think you should get rid of me, but I don't. I think my reputation stands. And I think that I will rely on my reputation. My mother and my father taught me very seriously not to attack my accusers. When accused, or falsely accused in this case, don't attack the person, don't attack back. Just hold your head high and rely on your reputation and move on to do what's best for the town of Deerfield, which is what I'm doing. And so the fact that I'm not attacking back, don't interpret that as weakness. I certainly could attack back, but I choose not to. I've explained this, as I said, in the past. I thought that explanation was sufficient. Apparently it's not. And I rely now on my reputation to answer this question. I suggest that we deal with this, though, and get it off the agenda if we can. I don't know how you'd like to proceed, and it's not for me to preside over that, obviously.
I'd like to wait till the next meeting to do an adjudication of this.
I guess I'm a little confused at what COI we're talking about. You went back to the first one. I was thinking about the 8 that we just got last week, which those, I don't hold any merit in those at all, because to me, that looks like a petition, not a COI. I mean, that piece of paper that was stapled to all the top forms, everybody filled out, it was the same complaint. So to me, it was a petition, not a conflict of interest. Had those 8 people had their own problems with what they saw or what happened, they could have written it in their own thoughts, but instead they would just had the one piece of paper for everybody. What Will did in the NBC meeting, I don't feel
We
was.
talked about it already.
Why not? Well,
We did the NBC first one that came out.
all right, and we did this one, I thought.
No, because we only got it last week,
Okay,
last meeting rather.
We've discussed this multiple times already.
right,
Yeah,
well,
yeah. I feel like we're relitigating each week,
right.
and we have to get this off the agenda. I mean, so I just want to, Will had mentioned that, giving my own version of what had happened or my own side of what happened. I don't remember the exact verbiage, but I walked in, I was approached by Will. He said, I something along the lines of a complaint has come up. Would you be willing to help investigate it? And that was all that was mentioned to me. No mention about what it was about, who it was about, nothing. I said, sure, you need help with something? No problem. And that was it. And I was introduced to the complaint when everyone else was introduced to the complaint. So, I'm tired of, people suggesting conspiracy theories and doubting the intentions of myself, due to political affiliations. It keeps coming up, and we need to put this to bed.
The way we handled it was trash from the minute it was handed to him on paper. He handled it poorly. We all handled it poorly. I would probably just say, ask our attorney what to do. If the attorney says throw it off the agenda, drop it, we do that. If he says you should probably remove him from the seat, we can do that. But I don't know what the right thing to do is, because I didn't know what the right thing to do was that evening. He admitted that he didn't know what to do that evening, and shame on us for such a bad sequence of events, but here we are, and this is where, in my personal business, I would just call my attorney and go, what do we do to end this? Because I agree with Greg. It's coming up on the agenda. It's keeping us from working on more important things, financial issues. I will say that if anything else even questionable comes up again, it'll be a red flag to me. And I will not engage in this again for another 6 meetings over something we're not sure about. I just call the attorney and say, what do we do? Can we do that?
We can. Do you want to spend taxpayer dollars to call legal? I mean, if it's going to change,
I want to do what's legally right. We broke laws. We broke procedures. All of us.
I don't think we broke procedures, but the bottom line is, it was a mistake from the beginning. It was a mistake from the moment the piece of paper was handed to him. That's where I have a problem. I would think anyone handed a COI complaint with their name on it should have immediately handed it to the vice chair.
You're not wrong.
But
We didn't.
that being said, it has become larger than it was, I think.
Yeah, I was simply seeking, what should I do? It seems like we need to have an investigation.
Well, I can't accept that from you, from anyone getting something like that with their name on it.
I'm suggesting you're right, that I could have and I should have in retrospect, right? But at the moment, I said, well, how do we proceed? We have the town administrator can help, and I thought we should try to get somebody from the board to help with it. I was really I'm not afraid of investigation of me or my motives. I was simply seeking a procedure in something that's brand new to us. And I didn't do it very well. I've learned a lesson for sure in this instance.
Then I'm going to say, you have issued your mea culpa, you understand that you were wrong, and let's leave it at that. Any further mistakes would be something different in my mind. But for now, so that we can get on to other business.
How do you tell the 70% of the people who
Excuse me,
voted?
Sorry, Errol.
Excuse me, but
You're not-
70% of the
you haven't
people
been
voted.
recognized, sir. Does anybody have a better idea?
I have to go with Jared. I would like the attorney to look at this, because this could be something bigger later on if we don't have the correct legalities of it all.
I don't think there's any way to come out of this correct, but if everyone is agreed that we want to talk to the attorney,
Guess what is it? Well, and maybe we can discuss that in non-public, but I guess I'm not sure what you're looking for from the attorney, right? I mean, you have a conflict of interest policy. You have someone that has complained that someone has potentially violated that policy. That person says, yeah, that wasn't really a great look. And the next time a complaint came up that was addressed to that person, it was handled differently.
so then we can cut to the chase. The person was accused of doing something wrong. The person has admitted to making a mistake
Yeah.
and not understanding the process that should have been taken. I don't think we need to involve the lawyers in that. We know, does anyone here think it was malicious? Because that's the only thing that we should act on. If it wasn't malicious, he's admitted in the mistake. Can we get on to business?
Yep.
So then I would move that the issue has been discussed, and we're confident it shall not happen again.
Second.
Okay, that's your motion. You got a second? Yeah. Oh, AAs? We have to vote on it?
I believe so.
Okay.
Aye.
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 Abstain.
Let's put it to bed and move on. And with the assumption that such a thing will not happen again.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is I'm not sure if it's conflict of interest, but it's a question about Greg Whitmore serving as an alternate for the NBC, I believe.
Yeah, it was a potential conflict of interest that was brought to the board from Kendra Cohen, the school board chair, concerned with whether or not Greg should serve as the alternate member of the select board to the NBC because he is a full-time member of Pembroke Academy.
And in our previous meeting, we discussed it, and we said that there was some difference of opinion about what the RSAs said and which RSA applied and how they were interpreted, and we asked for Karen to get some further opinion from legal counsel about interpreting the
Who made the
RSAs.
request to release the legal opinion?
Oh, okay.
Stacy Marcioni requested that the board release the opinion. I haven't released it because I need permission from you folks in order to do that.
So I think what we're dealing with here is not the final decision necessarily, although we could. But I think the decision here is to grant the release of the attorney-client privilege to release that to a public member.
You see that as a problem, Karen?
You can on a case by case. This was an opinion from NHMA. The opinion that I got from council was not in writing. I can get it in writing if that's what you'd prefer.
Is it close to what the HMA is?
It is similar, yes. So they would agree that based off of the way that the agreements are structured with Pembroke Academy, and because the Department of Education recognizes Pembroke Academy as a high school that is maintained by the district, that it would be,
So it's all because it's part of the SAU, the same SAU?
because it's maintained by the district, yeah. They think that that relationship is close enough that it would be in the best interest for Greg to either recuse himself or for the board to select an alternate.
Greg, I realize you don't agree with it.
I don't remotely agree with it. And if we were to, compare this to our conflict of interest, I'd love for anyone to tell me how I could possibly benefit from having voting rights on the
I
MBC.
agree with you completely that you,
And I think that if this board is going to vote on that, they should have that answer for me.
Right.
Prior
So
to
you're
voting.
saying we should identify what is the possible conflict that you would have.
I would
You're not-
love to know what that.
You're not
what
voting
that would
on
be.
your own salary or your own benefits or anything that would apply to
I'm not
Pembroke
part of any
Academy.
bargaining. I have no say in anything. So if this board is going to vote on removing me from
No, we
a
can't.
committee, then
I don't think that's the process. What we're trying to make sure is, so we have an attorney's opinion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you
So
verbalize it?
the financial gain or the potential financial gain that she sees is that because you're an employee of the district, your income depends on whether or not that is funded, right? The relationship with the school district and the tuition line, there's an agreement in place that pays that, whether you agree with it or not, that's the line.
I mean, those are,
Does it
those are,
matter?
those are negotiated with and have nothing to do with me. So high school negotiations are negotiated between the DCS school board and the high schools in question. SAU budgets are a completely separate matter on their own accord. So I can't see any possible way I could have any influence on anything regarding my specific salary at a completely unrelated school.
But and their opinion is that just because you don't negotiate the terms of those contracts doesn't mean you don't benefit from them, right? They still cut your check.
I mean, I think we're really,
End of the day.
we're really looking for a technicality to get me on, I feel.
Well, and that's what the board has to decide, whether or not you believe that relationship is, how distant it is,
So
right, and
If we're
clear.
going to go on what we believe, I don't think any one of us believes it has any effect. What all I'm concerned about is protecting the town's interests regarding the law.
Yeah.
And if someone can't tell me definitively why he can't serve as an NBC member in another town, which may be part of the SAU as such, then I'll fight it. But if there's a specific reason he can't, then that's the law and that's just the way it is.
And just from a practical standpoint, I will be here for the next two NBC meetings. So the first time that Greg would need to serve as an alternate would be December 16th, when I will be out of town. So that's the only potential that we have, is one meeting then. And by that time, I believe that the school board will have its budget. We plan to wrap up next week with our town budget.
I think that'll be the first meeting that the budget
So
committee
it'll be
will.
presented at that meeting when Greg would be there.
So, again, I'm only talking about legalities.
Yep, and that's why I'm requesting that I would like to see that very specific legality. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so then I will get it in writing.
And so on the 15th, when we have our next meeting,
Mm-hmm.
we'll have to decide how to proceed, because the very next day would be the NBC meeting where it would have an effect.
And if the lawyer that we're paying for says that it can't happen, then that's the way I have to go.
I mean, it's out of my hands. It's, the board votes how they want to vote, but,
I'm not in the habit of going against legal counsel.
Right.
That's not why I pay attorneys.
So let's see what it says.
Further discussion, Cindy? You haven't voiced anything, I don't think. Okay.
I'd like to see the specifics too of how he can benefit from anything voted in this town. I know it's the SAU, but we don't pay his salary and we don't,
And he's not on the SAU board,
right,
so
We're reviewing the DCS budget,
right.
not any other budget. We're not reviewing the SAU budget.
Right, but the DCS budget contains line items that relate to that tuition agreement with the town.
it's
the
an agreement
tuition agreement that
with
is
the
already
school.
in place.
the
Right, that you can
that
negotiate.
DCS has with Pembroke.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow, okay. And none of that's gonna come up in
And
an NBC.
It's already in place.
Right,
Yeah.
It's already been negotiated and in place of the contract.
Yep.
and let's see what the lawyer has to say.
All right, so we'll defer this to the next meeting. the 15th.
Please?
All right. There's been no motion, so there's no need to table anything. All right, if that's done, then we'll go to the next item of business, which is the Solid Waste Committee. Well, we didn't vote on releasing the legal opinion to the citizen that requested it under
I
our,
don't have it.
well, we have an initial one. So I think what she was asking for was that initial one that we got in writing. So we did get one.
Then let's bring it up next week when we have the actual written thing in front of us.
So we'll put off the release of that initial legal letter. I think we got a letter, right? Yeah. That suit the board?
Yep.
Okay. All right, then, moving on to the next agenda item, Solid Waste Committee, continuing discussion on the RFP for disposal costs and methods. Do we have someone from the Solid Waste Committee?
Suzanne's not here. I'm going to stand in again. I'm Sherry Dudlowski, in case you don't know my name. Mill Road.
We have a handout in our packet from this.
Karen, you did some work on this. Do you have a spare copy of your updated version?
You can have this one. I don't anticipate any changes. So the Solid Waste Committee had prepared a draft RFP, which the board saw at the last meeting. They had highlighted sections of yellow and blue based off of information that they needed from myself or information from Jared. Those sections have all been included. And then the draft that you have in your packet now is sort of just a reformatted version of what you saw based off of, just to sort of organize the information. So in there, it's largely the same as what you have already seen. The deadlines are, it looks, I think December 9th is when we would invite vendors to see an on-site visit. We've included tonnage. The only tonnage that is not in there is bulky. I'm still waiting for Casella to get back to me with an updated year-to-date figure so we can estimate a bulky tonnage instead of, because the figures that we had from last year include C&D. And then I think the only other change that Suzanne had mentioned was removing aluminum and tin from the RFP and including tin in the metal dumpster, and then still selling the aluminum as a commodity, but not including it in this RFP document. Does that cover everything, Sherry?
I think it does. Thank you, Karen.
Jared, have you reviewed this?
Yep.
Do you have any comment yourself about it?
I think it's looking pretty good.
So we just have to get the numbers for the bulky?
The numbers for the bulky and, yeah,
And this specifies hauling weekly for the household hazard, for the household trash. And then weekly for, I think it's the glass. There's three recyclables that go weekly, and then the other three go once a month, basically.
So without the bulky numbers, we can't approve it.
I mean, you can approve that just, and then contingent on inclusion of those figures once we receive them.
So I would make a motion to do so.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve this RFP to go out as the official RFP and procedure for this purpose. Any,
Addition of the bulky.
yeah, on the condition that we need to fill in the bulky waste tonnage. And is there any further discussion on this?
When can we get that number?
I sent an email out to Tony, so I should be getting that any day. I need it right away. I can get that out before I'm running out of time.
Do you see any curveballs that we should hold off on it, or?
I don't think so. Even
Seems
if it
pretty,
went out like this, we could deal with it.
we're not making a decision to fund this or do it. We're just getting some proposals for the different scope of work items. So we're not really committed to do it. We're just getting proposals, right? As I understand it.
And with the site visits, we might get some good suggestions from all of the vendors that might cause us to amend this a little bit in either direction.
But it's a start.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. All in favor of using this as our RFP contingent on the bulky waste tonnage, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay.
All right, next is some new business. So we have a tax deed waiver.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a quick question? At the December 9th site visit, can you be there, Jared? 1 o'clock. I think it would be helpful to have some representation from the select board. I'm sure Karen's planning to be there. We'll plan to be there, but I think if anyone is interested, I know many of you have full-time jobs and can't be there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but I just
I'll ask
wondered.
my boss and see if I can get off.
Or do you want to
Your
do
boss
it
is
later?
pretty
pretty-
cranky, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I could mosey you over there for 1
That
o'clock.
would be great.
Would you rather do it at like 3 o'clock?
Next Tuesday.
Jared, is it better for 3 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock?
3 o'clock would be better if possible, if you think we'll have the daylight.
You'll barely have it, but you'll have it for like an hour.
I'd take 3 over 1.
So we can change it and do it that way.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay.
Thank you
right.
so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
While we're on solid waste, can I just throw something else in? Sure. I reached out to the leasing company that Matt Bork recommended last week, and it is in fact a finance company, and we would be able to finance the dumpsters at a rate of 7.5%. So it's a finance charge. But I did reach out to them, as I said I would. I talked to them. If we were needing to stretch it out into payments to purchase those dumpsters, we could, but it is not a 0% or free service.
All right, so we'll take that suggestion into consideration as we fund the dumpsters.
Move on to the next ones.
Yep.
All right, any other discussion from solid waste? No.
Thanks, Jared.
Well, while we're checking trash, do you want to give them an update on Saturday's debacle?
No.
All right, moving on.
You know what? I do. On Saturday, we had a minor incident at the transfer station that what I could only refer to as institutional knowledge could have helped avoid. It wasn't tragic. We were able to mitigate it, but there was a little bit of damage caused to the trailer that was happening unbeknownst to the operators up top. It's not the end of the world. It's going to be fixed. But all I could say is we need to get somebody in there full-time we need to get somebody in there for all open hours. So a full-time, part-time guy who knows what's going on there, because it did actually display that, well, it's mostly throwing stuff into the hoppers and pressing the button, you need to have people there who understand the machinery and the equipment, or things can become dangerous or costly when things become damaged. I don't know what we need to do to get that person or to lure somebody like that in, but I think it's going to be necessary to see safe operation of that place moving forward.
Yeah, I think your statements stand whether there was an incident on Saturday or not.
It definitely does. But it was a good eye-opener Saturday with what happened, that having somebody there with, again, either institutional knowledge or just general transfer station and knowledge of how all that equipment works in general is a benefit to the town and what it could save us in damages and repairs and time.
If you have that lure that you were talking about.
I don't know yet what the lure might be, but it probably comes down to somebody who understands that machinery, who's capable of running the loader, capable of running that truck, and monitoring and inspecting those compactors. Probably is going to need more than 18, 20 bucks an hour. I don't want to spend a ton of money more than anybody else on it, but you could very easily cause $10,000-$15,000 worth of damage by pushing that button, not realizing what's going on down below. And stuff like that starts happening, we can't afford it. I would rather have somebody there who understands what's going on than fix the mistakes of people who just don't have the training.
I don't see where that's too far-fetched, Jared, where we're already paying our highway guys their pay to help us out up there, so it wouldn't be costing much more money to hire somebody that knows what they're doing.
I believe you're right.
If we could get a budget passed.
If we can get a budget passed.
That job description is still out.
Yes.
Karen and I amended it last week. We made some updates to it, but it just got published a couple days ago. But I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be enough. But we shall see. We'll let it ride for a week, see if we get any interest in it, and then take it from there.
Other comment on that? Consensus to let it ride and see how the current request that's out there brings any candidates?
See if we can get somebody.
Yeah.
I have a thought that I got to put on paper that would probably help us get a valuable employee into the town that we could possibly split between, not unlike what we're doing now, but an employee that could run the transfer station, and then in the additional hours to make it a full-time position, be an asset to the highway department. And it would fit and go hand in hand. It would be a CDL having employee, somebody whose part of their duties are to move the dumpsters, make sure everything is properly situated at the transfer station. One person be in charge of that truck. And then when they're not working at the transfer station, they can be an asset and a body and a truck driver to the highway department. The pay would be on par with what the highway guys make now, I'm assuming. But it would be one way to get one solid person to do what needs to be done over there and then benefit the highway department with the remaining hours. I haven't finalized it yet. I got to put it on paper and figure it all out, but I'm kind of thinking that that might help split up the financial burden of putting it all on the transfer station. And then what Frank was saying last week, we really do need to start bringing in some new people to the highway department to learn, so possibly we can find somebody who's willing to do both.
I think there's also been some other ideas being kicked around recently about how to solve that issue as well. I don't think I'm prepared to discuss that here.
Okay. Call me.
All right, so unless there's other discussion on that issue, we will move on. Okay. So we have a tax deed potential, a deed waiver. We have a chart in our packet which shows the payments, or actually the lack of payments on a deed. And my understanding is that before we can really act on this, we would do well to have Frank, the building inspector, to inspect the property to be sure that there's no liabilities that we're unaware of in accepting a tax deed. And I think that hasn't been able to get accomplished yet.
Correct.
And so we're looking probably tonight to just recognize the fact that we have this piece of property that's going to come up on a tax deed for payment of overdue taxes, if not paid. And let's hope that the property owner pays it. They've missed their deadline. It was the 24th of November, I believe.
Yes.
And in the meantime, we're going to have Frank inspect the property so that at the next meeting, we potentially could take it onto a tax deed and sell it for the taxes and follow our normal procedure for that.
24th of November, what year? This year?
Passed. They just missed the deadline to pay these taxes. They can still, as I understand it, they can still stand up right now and pay it if they wish. But if they don't, our procedure is to take it and sell it and for our taxes and then disperse the rest of the funds to whoever the rightful owner is.
Let's get Frank to take a look at it.
Yeah. So unless there's other opinion or discussion, we'll defer this to the next meeting and have Frank do his due diligence on any liabilities that property may present.
And we don't discuss what property that is till we've made a decision on.
I don't see a need to do that.
Need to do so.
I just want to, if are we supposed to, or are we not supposed to?
It would be a matter of public record once we take action.
Okay.
We have issued a letter, of course, to the owner several times. All right, any other?
And it was due last Monday?
24th. That was the final deadline. They had plenty of opportunity to pay this.
Okay.
Next item is the Wes Galam and Barbara Matthews are here from the Energy Committee to discuss the solar grant.
Hi there, Wes Gollum, South Road. Good evening. I'm here on behalf of the Deerfield Energy Committee with what we believe is genuinely good news for the town and an opportunity that will bring real measurable financial benefit to Deerfield for decades to come. Over the past several months, the Energy Committee prepared an application for a congressionally directed spending grant to install solar panels at this building, the GBW building. We've just been notified that Deerfield has been awarded $248,000 for this program. The award is based directly on the proposals submitted by our committee, and we want to thank everyone who supported the application along the way. Before I talk about next steps, I want to briefly highlight what the Energy Committee's past work has done for this building. Over the past 20 years, projects the town have undertaken at the GBW building based on the Energy Committee's energy audit and recommendations have saved the town of Deerfield more than $500,000. That's $500,000 that would have otherwise been spent in energy expenses. And we're proud of the town's strong tax record of responsible stewardship. This solar project is the next logical step in that long-term effort. The original grant request was for $330,000, which includes not only installation, but 30 years of routine maintenance costs. This is important. We're not asking the town to take on a system that will require unpredictable future expenses. The grant was structured to make this stable, maintenance-supported asset for the long term. As with most federal grants, a 25% match is required, which in this case is $84,000. At the current rates, installing the system at the GBW building is projected to save about $13,000 a year, which will pay for the town's investment in about 6.5 years, with a projected savings of around $800,000 over the 40-year projected lifespan of the system. And electrical costs, as we know, continue to increase over time. That means the actual savings are likely to be significantly higher. We understand that this board takes stewardship of taxpayer dollars seriously. So do we. For that reason, we are actively exploring other funding mechanisms and incentives to cover the 25% match. The federal tax refund, there's not taxes, obviously, but it's 30% match, is very likely to reimburse some or potentially all of that match. Sorry. We're confident with careful planning, Deerfield can complete this project with little or no cost to the town. To keep this process moving, the town will need to issue an RFP for installation. This can be done in 2026. The town administrator has already agreed to work with the Energy Committee on preparing this RFP, and we will also receive guidance from the federal program on the required timeline and procedural steps. At this stage, we are simply requesting the board's support to authorize an issuance of an RFP which can occur after January 1st, 2026. There will be additional decision points along the way, but this is the essential next step required by the grant. This is the kind of long-term financial decision that pays dividends for decades and reduces the pressure on future town budgets. The RFP process will give us real numbers, real engineering details, and clear comparisons so the board can make a fully informed decision. In summary, this is a rare opportunity. A major federal grant has been awarded to Deerfield. The town's energy investments have a proven history of saving significant money. Long-term savings from this project are projected to approach $800,000, and with tax credits, direct pay was the word I was looking for before, and other sources, Deerfield could accomplish this with minimal cost to the taxpayer. Tonight, we just want to share this exciting news with you, and we're simply asking for your support to take the next required step, authorizing the RFP to be issued next year so we can bring back concrete proposals and numbers for your approval. Thank you for your time. We're happy to answer any questions you have.
So this is in the previous Board of Selectmen session, the 2024 session, where you two, of course, weren't on the board at the moment, but the three of us will remember there was quite a bit of discussion about putting a solar array on this building, and there were some concerns that were voiced at that time. You probably remember, Wes. Mm-hmm. There were some concerns about the integrity of the roof and the maintenance of the roof and the weight-bearing load on the roof. There were a lot of things that were brought up, kind of engineering kind of considerations. I remember, I think Ray Ellis shared some information with us that he had gotten, and I'm not sure if Fred actually even had some ideas about the engineering part of it, but I think we need to also address those concerns again.
His verbiage in that didn't state it needed to be on the roof.
Exactly.
It's a general, that sounded like a generalized grant. That might actually go for an array.
If I may, there's two options we see. One is on the roof, which would come with an engineering study before it was put up, or it wouldn't go on the roof. The other option is putting panels along the parking lot, again, right up against the edge of the parking lot. We could get a 90 kilowatt array there, which would.
Are you talking about across the street?
No, I'm talking about the parking lot right here.
On the perimeter of the property.
Okay. Anyway, I don't want to make my remarks sound like I'm putting any cold water on it.
No, I get it.
But there are some concerns about where would this go and how would it work, you know.
I understand, and that we've been working
Yeah.
ever since then to address those.
Because I think I recall that when we did kind of come to a conclusion last year, it was kind of that we didn't think it was a good idea to put them on this building for different reasons. So we need to make sure we do address that. Okay. Others?
Thank you, Wes.
You're welcome. So will you, I don't know whether it requires a vote, but we would like to move ahead with developing this RFP.
I see no reason you can't move ahead and work with Karen to make the RFP, and then we can approve it or not approve it.
I think the approval would be to
do
issue the
that.
RFP to the vendors. So,
Okay.
You don't need a vote to create an RFP?
No, we can just do that.
we
and then-
we can, but I don't think it's required. If you'd like to, we can
Is there anyone who objects to us developing an RFP on this?
do it by consensus.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Handle that backhand.
I agree. As long as it's not on the roof.
And it's just the George B. White property. That property goes
Yep.
where we're looking at possibly putting a septic.
Yeah, it could be out behind the tennis courts. I don't know if that's a good location for it, but whatever. And there are other public properties around.
But that was specified to the George B. White Building,
Yeah.
so to this, but can't hurt to look.
Well, and to the credit of the committee, to get that grant approved
It's a good grant.
was a very good thing, so we're certainly supportive of that. All right, seeing nothing else on that issue, we'll go to our regular business. We have some outstanding minutes from November the 17th, which did not have a non-public session, so it's just the
Moved
minutes.
as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the November 17th minutes, moved as written. Any discussion or omissions or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor of approving these minutes from November 17th signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Next order of business is vouchers payroll manifest. So this is the one from the 24th, which is we've already been signed, but only by two of us, I notice. So
Motion to approve.
motion to approve the ones from the well, it's actually for the date of November 25th. It was signed by two of us on the 24th. Any second to the motion?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor of approving the manifest of 11/25 signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed?
Which has already been paid, but.
Yeah, we're after the fact, right? Normally, we would get 3 signatures, and that would be the approval. But in this case, we didn't get it.
Probably me.
Then on the accounts payable, we also have the one from the 25th, which is signed only by two of us again. So I
Motion to
need,
approve.
we have a motion and a second to approve the AP of November 25th. All in favor of approving that AP signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And then we have the AP of December 2nd, which is tomorrow's AP. And it is in the amount of, I probably should have read the amounts over that one.
$1,405,197.
Thank you.
Of which $1,000,002 is for DCS.
Very good. Thank you, Steve. My eyesight thanks you. And is there any discussion about, well, first we need a motion.
For so moved.
We have a motion to approve December 2nd.
Second.
And we have a second. Any further discussion on the December 2nd accounts payable manifest? Seeing none, all in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Boy, it's hard to believe that it's December already.
Wow.
All right, our next order of business is the signatures and correspondence. Karen, what do we have?
I have 2 appointment slips, one for Ken Cohen to serve as an alternate member of the Conservation Commission, and the other for Richard LaCourse to serve as a full member as the Conservation Commission, terms to expire on April 30th of '26. They're both currently members of the commission, they're just swapping full member and alternate membership.
So moved. Second.
So they're just swapping. So one's a member and one's an alternate. Now they're swapping those positions. Kenneth Cohen and Richard LaCourse. And it appears that Ken is going to be the alternate and Richard will be the member. Any discussion? All in favor of these appointments signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
There was a lien placed on property at 38 Brown Road for past due taxes. It was paid in full in 1979, but the lien was never released. So I have a letter here from the tax collector requesting that this be signed so we can send it to the registry to release the lien.
Move to
That's-
have the chairman sign.
You all have to sign it.
We all have to sign it?
Yeah, it's places for all of us. This is about the oldest business I can ever imagine.
There was one older than that a few weeks, a couple
Was there?
months ago, I thought.
Oh, is there? Okay.
I swore there was.
I'm only 1 year older than that.
38 Brown Road, releasing a lien that was paid 50 years ago, huh? 41 years ago. All in favor? Any discussion, first of all? Any motion?
Right.
Made a motion.
47.
You made a motion. Did we get a second?
47
Okay,
years
I'm
ago.
sorry. Any discussion? All in favor of removing the lien according to the payment in 1979, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
This is an intent to cut.
One intent to cut. Intent to cut on Perkins Road, map 408, lot 10, in the city of Deerfield, or town of Deerfield. And it's a 53-acre lot, and the acreage to cut is 50 acres. So we will
Sign it.
sign it. And we'll be collecting some timber tax.
I have one plow contract. That's for Matt Fisher to do the,
All right, so this is an additional plow contract to the, I think we had 10 of them, right? So this is 11 or 10?
I guess that would be the 11th, but that is just for the chief, just to do the
Move to accept.
fire station lots and the cisterns.
And this is all at the same conditions and rates as the other plow contracts?
I think his is a little bit different. It's $100, I think is what,
He doesn't have the equipment.
and it's just for,
But I mean, is it consistent
It's
with
ju-
the schedule of services that,
Following the schedule of.
it's what he's always done, that just the 2 fire stations and the cisterns.
right? And the equipment that he's using is consistent with the $100 per hour rate?
Yes, and he will not receive the stipend.
And no stipend? Okay. All right. We have a motion. Do we have a second? All right. And any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
And I have one cemetery deed for a niche at the columbarium for $1,600.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve a columbarium sale at $1,600. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed?
Something's filling up quick.
Yeah. I wish it would last longer. We can wait.
They don't take up much room. and They're not bad to look at.
That's one thing where you don't want to market for customers.
Right.
And that's it on correspondence and signatures?
Yes,
Thank you.
I just have one item.
In the town administrator report?
What is the board's pleasure as far as the transfer station tomorrow? So Tuesdays generally is our regular employee with the operator license. And then we supplement that with one person from highway. So I had touched base with Frank this morning, and the storm this morning was tracking to start late afternoon, early evening, and through the night on Tuesday. So we were thinking we could operate 12 to 5 and then use highway to plow. The storm track has changed a bit, and it looks like the storm is probably going to start around 9 a.m., and some reports are saying as early as 7 a.m., which obviously will compromise transfer station operations to some degree. So what would you like to do in terms of that second person, or?
A concern that I have right off the bat, because I saw possibly an inch an hour at some points, is without the loader there and somebody competent to run it, there's nobody there to plow it. And we can't have people in and out of there if it's not safe for passage. Could we extend the hours on Thursday?
Potentially, I'd have to check with the staff members to see if they can.
Could we shift to early hours tomorrow? Just open in the morning for a bit?
How many people would we actually have without someone from the highway? One.
One,
One. So we can open.
not unless,
If the highway department is out,
That's the question. Can we open it for a few hours until the snow builds up and then have the highway guy go plow? I think that's the question. And of course, you're trying to predict the weather, so.
I know.
so it would seem, it's supposed to open at 12:30?
yes,
It would seem that that would be the height of the storm.
yes,
It sure appears that
right
way.
now.
And if we only have one person, if the other guy's plowing, we can't open the transfer station.
Was the school closed?
Yeah, the school is
Closed
closed.
Transportation.
So I think that to the chagrin of some citizens, we probably should recommend that we do not open the transfer station tomorrow.
We should try and get it out as quickly as possible that the transfer station will not be open tomorrow.
Due to weather.
And lack of employees. Because that's the bottom line.
Well, I think we could probably, one of us, for instance, might even volunteer to try to keep it open as another,
I mean, I got a few hours, I could go down there and I could help in the morning, but we got to still plow it and maintain it.
so it's not just
and-
because we don't have the employee, I think it's because
Yeah.
of the safety concerns.
Right.
So getting in an unsafe condition where somebody gets in an accident or hurt.
We can't open the transfer station with just one person.
No.
So that's kind of a moot point, I think.
Well, unless we could get someone else who would volunteer to be the other person, right? But it does seem that in the height of the storm, trying to open it even with two people is not a
Right.
good idea, right? So it's not because of personnel, it's because of the weather.
Just get it out there everywhere as soon as we can.
And then we'll talk about maybe extended hours on Thursday to supplement. And another potential storm on Saturday.
I would think many citizens will stay home anyway because of the weather, not.
Gotta go dump the trash.
The people with the four-wheel drives will have to prove themselves.
People are going to be very displeased by that, but I hope that they understand that we're working on our staffing issue aggressively from this point on. But for safety reasons, I think we got to close it tomorrow.
Any other thoughts
I think we should clearly state our several reasons. Yeah,
in the communication?
yeah.
All right, consensus?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, that's it for the town administrator's report.
All I have for
Can
public
that,
session.
can that go out on the emergency phone?
Text.
The alert system.
Yes, when we're wrapped up here, I'll type up something and send it off to Kelly and ask her to send that out. She already reached out to me earlier today and said she would be happy to do that, so.
Thank you.
All right, we're down to other business. Do we have any other business by the board? Seeing none, we'll go to public comment. Public comment?
There is a problem with our ordinance because when I was in the legislature, one of the things they pointed out in the law was an elected official cannot be removed from office under very specific terms, theft, a murder, there has to be a court proceeding. So I would say our ordinance needs to be reworked. And it might be that the selectmen should write a new ordinance instead of the petitioned one and have something that is reality to law. An elected official is elected by the people, and no board is authorized to remove an elected official unless there are certain circumstances, and it's pretty strong circumstances. One of the biggest problems I see in this town is there's not enough volunteers for the committees and the things that need to be done. I was in the offices and saw a legal notice posted on a court decision, which leads me to the fact that in all the time I've been here, I haven't heard the selectmen at any point discuss that they had been taken to court, the town had been taken to court because of the ZBA decision or planning board decision, etc. And that I feel that is something of interest to the people, that they should know this town had a court case against us. We paid a lot of money out, and that in fact, the court overturned 2 points of the decision by the Zoning Board of Adjustment. I've been looking at the postings for a long time, and I told you a while back, not all committees are posting their meetings. And one tonight that I heard was the Energy Committee. I haven't seen one posting at the post office for the Energy Committee, nor on the bulletin board here. But we voted an ordinance that I wrote many years ago, that the posting of meetings would be at the post office as well as the town hall, and anywhere else the selectmen chose to say. And that got voted in the affirmative, hasn't been ever overturned. In attending selectmen's meetings since the 1980s, when I was all alone sitting in the audience, Jim Alexander said to me one time, very sheepishly, "I know, Harriet, you suggested it 6 months ago, but sometimes it takes us time to think it through." Well, sometimes shouldn't take that long. We should understand the people of this town need to know when we're spending legal funds, what for? And when we get a legal decision on a zoning issue, we especially need to look if that needs to be updated in order to not be spending money on legal fees. And that was from a workshop I attended many years ago with the New Hampshire Municipal.
Thank you, Harriet.
Suzanne Staley at Harvey Road. I just want to say thank you, Karen, for being proactive to talk about tomorrow at the transfer station. I think putting all the points as to why it is closing will be very helpful, especially after the early closure that didn't have any of the background for people. Mentioning safety, mentioning that once the snow accumulates, there's no one to plow the facility and keep it safe, and know that we only have one person there that's certified. All of those things are super important to communicate to the townspeople. Another thought process is to get something out onto the Facebook pages, all of the Facebook pages tonight, so that people see it earlier than tomorrow, if possible. And if it's possible to put something on the website in, I don't know, the calendar and/or the transfer station page. I don't know if Steve can get something quickly out there so that if someone looks, that would be great. being proactive. I'll just say my own comments about extending hours on Thursday. I don't know if that's super conducive or not, because generally, most of the rush is towards the end of the day, the 4:30 and beyond. So I really don't see a huge need, especially if we're open on Thursday and Saturday, to be able to take tomorrow's trash. Thank you for moving forward with the RFP, and Karen, I did get the contact information for one of the vendors that I hadn't given, so I will communicate that out. I think that's it, so thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, we have a non-public session tonight to go into, and our vice chair will read the justification.
That 91A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such employee, or the investigation of any charges against him or her, unless the employee affected has a right to a meeting, and 2, request a meeting will be open, in which case a request shall be granted. B, the hiring of any person as a public employee, and C, matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body itself, unless person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of fee, fine, or other levy, if based on inability to pay or poverty of any applicant.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. This is the motion, and Steve is the second. We have to take rolls, so,
Yes.
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 and yes. Are we unmuted? Okay. All right, I'll reconvene the public session.
Wait for Greg.
Oh,
Once Greg gets
he's
back.
indisposed, yeah. All right, we're back in session and waiting for one member.
Holding everything up.
Oh, what? He went home. He thought we were done.
I'm guessing you guys aren't going to spend a lot more time talking about it. Everybody's got their coat on.
It's true.
I would make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session and know for the record that no action was taken.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to seal the non-public minutes and note that no action was taken. Excuse me, we have a second. Any discussion? Greg?
Yep.
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 Yes.
And yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.